What's up?
And we're back.
What?
And we're back. And the host isn't here, but we're back.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a different room now, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes, us again, huh? Nice.
Traveling troop of terror. That's us.
Sure.
Sure. Why not?
We are pretty terrifying, huh?
Oh, spooky.
How many trainings are you guys doing today?
My last one for today.
Yeah. This is the last one I'm going to sit through, and then I have like just 2 to lead later.
Oh, that's right. Actually signed up for another one of yours, Nilo, because
Yeah.
Shay canceled his.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, I
Thank
wanted
you.
to go, but I was like at the full like 20 hours for this week. And I was like,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I want to get paid. So, but no, we're good now. We're good.
AJ, you always come through. I'm just like, I'm a brother in need, and then AJ just comes through, and I'm just like, wow, he really saved me there.
I'm just that guy,
Hi.
Hi guys. Sorry I'm late. I was trying to log in, but for some odd reason my account would not work. So I was
It
like,
happens.
oh man.
No, you're good. You're good. Zoom
You're
just
right on
likes being
time.
difficult. Yeah,
I
right
am
on
right
time. It is too.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and get ready. You guys mingle, and I will figure it out on my end how to set this up.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Let's see.
Yeah. Nilo, what are the other workshops you're doing today? I can't count them, unfortunately, but what are they?
I'm just doing tutor tips for VoiceThread, my favorite subject in the world, and tutoring multilingual students or ESL students.
Oh, that's right. I was so sad I couldn't come to that one.
It's okay. You'll be there in spirit.
Yes, I will be.
Right.
I very much will be.
I should just no, that'd be creepy. I should just put Kiana's face as the background.
Okay.
You take a screenshot right now. You don't actually have to do that, Nilo.
No, that was clearly a joke.
No, I know. I'm just letting you know. I know it was a joke. Oh man.
So guys, if there's anything you can take from us too, it's that when you graduate, professionalism goes out the window.
That's not true.
Not true.
Very
Not true.
What are they gonna do?
Very
Fire us?
That was funny. Okay. All right. I think I got everything ready to go. Awesome. Hello. I think this is everyone. I know my group is going to be a bit small. And that's okay, we tend to party better when it's in smaller sizes anyways. So I know I present or introduce myself during the orientation, and a couple of us know me already just from, I've been hanging out in the writing center, like the Zoom link writing center for a good while now. So some of you guys may know me, some of us may not know who I am, but just a quick intro. My name is Cristal, and I am the social and engagement lead, or SOE lead for the Green Initiative for our writing center. And so this is a new role, not only for the writing center, but for myself, really. This is the first time in a long time, actually. Graduated in 2018. So a long time that I've joined the WMC. And again, very long time since I've been here. I did act as a writing tutor at the time. I think there's different names for writing tutors now. But at the time, I was just a regular writing tutor for the WMC. I started back in 2016 as a junior, or I think the end of sophomore year, early junior year. I cannot remember. It's been a long time, but started there, worked there for 2 years, loved it. actually piloted the first embedded tutoring like courses, which is awesome. I know at the time we were like, oh, like, is this going to work or not? And myself and another tutor kind of were like, yeah, we'll do it. We'll try it out. And we actually tutored some of these sociology capstone courses. I don't know if is that still a thing or no? You don't know?
Don't know. I
Okay.
know we do like the Soc 305 class a lot, which is like the intro for them to their field of writing, but I don't know that we really do capstones a lot anymore in general.
I'm doing Soc 499 actually this semester, but I think that's like the first time I heard of us like doing a Soc capstone. Yeah, like Kiana said, 305 has been pretty run of the mill.
Yeah.
I don't remember the professor. Who's the professor for that class?
For the capstone, it's Doctors Abel and Downey.
Oh no, I don't. Abel maybe. I can't remember. It was a woman. She had blonde hair, very curly. I remember that. Don't know, but yeah. So that was that was one of the courses I acted as an embedded tutor in. And I'm glad at that time I was like, I'm not sure if this is going to work out or not. And then I graduated literally that semester that I did that course. So I never really found out until recently when I came back and they're like, yeah, it's a full-on thing. Like we have tutors in multiple courses. We have multiple professors and faculty involved. And it's just like, wow, it has grown exponentially since 2018. So about like 3 years ago. And so I'm glad to see that's a thing. But yes, so graduated in 2018, got my bachelor's in English with an emphasis in education, and then went on to get my master's in English with concentrations in rhetoric and composition and literature, but mostly red comp. So in writing or in teaching writing from Cal Poly Pomona. So I did that for the next 2 years, and I recently graduated, got my MA, finally out of that. Ooh, yes, finally out of that. Loved it really hard, but nonetheless, very rewarding. And so now I go ahead and take on the SOE lead for the WMC, as well as serve as adjunct faculty for the University of Laverne. I teach first year, the equivalent of first year composition there. And so a lot of this presentation actually is kind of being adopted from that course today. I taught my students last semester of how to write cover letters, because a lot of them are, either applying to internships, applying to other schools, really, or jobs or any of that sort. So I figured, you know what, might as well just teach about that, right? It is a life skill that a lot of us could utilize as we continue to either advance in our academic career or go on and sought out job opportunities or work opportunities, especially because I believe a couple of us are either have graduated or are graduating. Mostly everyone.
Yeah, so Nilo and I have graduated already. We're both special consultants.
Nice, congratulations on that. Yeah, it's a big step, getting your bachelor's, right? And for those of us who are in the process of getting our bachelor's, just hang on tight. It is very much rewarding, and in no time you guys will be, also seeking out those avenues as well. So that is what our presentation essentially today is going to focus on, right? Garnering those skills, or if you have already written cover letters or are, in the process of writing some, practicing those skills a bit more. But my goal for this presentation is to just essentially have you guys leave with a bit more information than what you did when you first joined. So that is what I'm going to do. Before I get started, let me go ahead and share with you, let me see, a link to the presentation that I'm going to have today. I'm going to screen share it. My God, all these terms, screen share it with you guys throughout this presentation, but nonetheless, you guys can follow through. Let me know if you guys are able to see that.
I'm not.
Yeah, we need to
I need
access the
permission.
settings.
Permission. Let me go ahead. Share with Dolphin. Why is that? You know what? Anyone with this link. There we go. Hold up. Got it. What about now?
Yes.
Yes, beautiful. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a moment to join that. And then I will also go ahead and start sharing my screen. Nope, can't see that. Let me do this.
I was trying.
Can you see this? Beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like this then. That's fine. So before we could get started on this presentation, I'd like to kind of go over a couple questions with you guys and kind of gauge how much we know so far about cover letters, or, if we don't even know a lot about cover letters, kind of guess what they may be or what they do. So what do we know about cover letter writing? And if anything, do you guys have any experience with cover letter writing? Even as a tutor, if anyone has come into the center during your course here and kind of, came up with like, hey, I'm trying to apply to whatever it is I'm applying and I need some help. So any experience in regards to that, if anyone wants to share?
I've written a generic one for a communication class. Kind of, they wanted us to create a professional portfolio.
Yeah.
We went about creating like a cover letter, kind of writing to the company or the person, like the consultant, and pitching yourself to them in a letter, essentially, just
Yeah.
sharing a little bit about you and like what you could bring to the company or the position. That's kind of what I've done, but I haven't worked with a student, 2T, with a cover letter yet.
Yes, and I love that you use that phrase, like pitching myself, right? And we kind of tend to do that a lot at the WMC, right? We have a lot of pitches. We go to courses and we're like, hey, this is why you should come and hang out with us or have some tutoring sessions with us, right? Awesome.
Exactly.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I haven't had a 2T come in to see me for a cover letter. The only cover letter I can really remember writing was for my job when I worked at Trader Joe's. And I was like, this is why I want to work for you. And like, I don't know, it's just like, here, this is why I want to work for you. Like, I felt like it was kind of, it said more than just my resume did. Because my resume is just like, here's all the jobs I've had. Wow, great. The cover letter was like, here's why actually you should hire me.
Most definitely, right? Because our resumes, they do tend to detail exactly, our experience that we have garnered, our education, publishings if we have any. But cover letters tend to kind of go into more detail about that, right? And yeah, and pretty much that I know of, a lot of jobs tend to ask for cover letters, even Trader Joe's. Yeah, that's awesome. One more person.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like the cover letter is your chance to sell yourself, at least before the interview. Because like Kiana mentioned, it kind of goes deeper than like, oh, I just want to work here. Can you please hire me so I can make some money? It's more like, these are my qualifications, or this is how I fit into the culture, or this is why I would want to work here ideally. So kind of like a personal statement in some instances. Like I definitely had to write one when I worked at the Boys and Girls Club as well. I mean, I think this job, to the best of my memory, required a cover letter as well. Yeah, I don't exactly remember, but yeah,
Same
that's
here.
yeah. And another thing is, I feel like a lot of employers don't exactly add a prompt for a cover letter. They just kind of ask for a cover letter. So it's kind of up to you to prioritize what you think they want to hear, more or less.
Yeah, totally agree with that, right? There isn't necessarily, well, typically when applying, there isn't necessarily any instructions when it comes to cover letters, even personal statements. Like I've noticed that personal statements or teaching philosophies, it's just like upload one, and it's like, okay, I could do that. Yeah, I could upload one, but what exactly are you looking for, right? It's more like a guessing game, and that's what we're hoping not to do, really, because that tends to stress us out, or at least with me, right? I don't know what to write. I don't know what you want, but if I have this template and I'm able to follow it, by all means, I could do that. I don't know if at the writing center I wrote a cover letter. I can't remember, but I do remember right out of CI, I had to essentially write so many cover letters, right? I was applying to jobs left and right. And I remember having kind of like this moment where I was like, I don't know what I am doing. I'm applying to all these jobs, and one of my mistakes, and I'll go over that a bit in my presentation, was that I was creating very generic templates for all of these jobs, right? I'm applying to 10 jobs and every single one has the same cover letter, right? And again, not to get ahead of myself, but that tended to kind of do the opposite of what I was looking for, right? In terms of, addressing a cover letter that was unique to the job position versus just having out 10 of them, right? And hoping that they could fit into what they are looking for, right? But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you guys have some sort of experience when it comes to cover letter writing. If you don't, that's totally fine. Again, that is why we're having this presentation today, and hopefully time to have like a small activity, but I'm going to see with time. So here is, and if we go onto our next slide, slide number 3, we have a example cover letter, right? Some of you guys might be like, what is going on? But I promise you it'll make sense in a couple minutes. So here is a cover letter for an English teacher position. So I want you guys, if you haven't already read it, kind of follow along and keep in mind what pops out or what kind of stands out about this cover letter. What makes your eyebrows shift, right? What is it that they're doing correct based off of just the knowledge you have at the moment? And what is it that they're doing, incorrect, right? So just keeping that in mind. So we have our cover letter as stated. Dear Mr. Jones, I am applying for your opening for the English teacher position. I was born to get this job. Please let me explain why I'm such a good match. As a little girl, my 2 brothers and I used to play pretend school with my parents. We were taught to respect each other and the teacher. And to this day, there is nothing I love more than teaching. I even babysat when I was a teenager. I taught that little girl her ABCs, and it was so much fun. Then when I got older, I got caught up in trying to make money and wound up spending the next 10 years of my life working in accounting. I did well and got great reviews, but my heart wasn't in it. I used to sit and think about my next vacation, always feeling like something was missing. And today, when I saw the listing for your job, I knew I had to write to you. I could feel it in my bones that your school and this job were the right direction for me, something I should have done ages ago. Since I read about your job, it's all I could think of. I really hope you are willing to give me a chance. I know if you do, I will have found the right job for me at last. Please consider me seriously, despite my coming from a different background. I know I can do the job, and what I don't know yet, I will quickly learn. Scout's honor. I could be reached at fake number if you have any questions or want to explore this further. Hopefully, Cristal G. So, letting that sit for a minute, again, raises a lot of eyebrows, right? But it could be argued there is, some good things that come from this cover letter. What is one good critique? Let's put our writing center tutor hats on. What is one good critique that we could give this particular cover letter?
I would say the spacing of it sounds bizarre, but I've seen like letters before where it's all just one big long paragraph. And I think breaking it up a little bit is easy in the eyes, and it's more welcoming in terms of the layout.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So the layout, it's not just like a giant block of text, right? It's pretty sorted out evenly throughout the letter. Yeah, for sure. Anything else?
I feel like it sound. Oh, go ahead, Kiana.
AJ, no, you go. Nope.
Okay. Um, I thought it sounded like a little bit like demanding at times. Like I was born to get this job. It's kind of slow. Like
Mhm.
if you don't give me this job, like that's on
Right.
you.
Yeah.
A little bit unprofessional, too. So could probably fix those things.
Yeah, most definitely, right? So their tone is a little bit too much, right? It seems like they're already like, you're gonna give me this job. This is just hand me the paperwork, right? There's no more need for an interview. I already told you what I'm all about, right? Yeah. Anything else? So let's open it up more now to not only just good critique, but also constructive criticism as well. What else did we notice about this?
Yeah. So first thing the first thing I did notice was the punctuation. I really wanted to change that really badly. I do think that they did like it, in terms though of like things that were like really good about it though. I do think like they were really good. They opened up, I'm applying for the English teacher position. They really started like strong, like this is what I'm applying for. They gave it like what possibly could be considered background in the what they were considering to be background for this job. And then they were like, I already did know this is where I was. They kind of were trying to turn it into a story. So I see that was really good. They were trying to like put themselves out there and tell their story. I think they started with who they were writing to. They closed it with their name. And they were like, they admitted, they're like, I'm from a different background, but like hopefully you'll still consider me. I think they were really honest about where they were coming from. Yeah, I mean there's other things too, but I'll let other people maybe mention them if they see them.
Yeah, no, definitely great constructive criticism on this piece, but anyone else?
I agree with Kiana. I think they were trying to balance both that personal anecdote, that personal aspect to kind of get an understanding of the writer, but also I wish they would have tried to tie, obviously accounting to teaching, it's two completely different fields, but try to find some way to tie it to not make it sound like their accounting job was like anything they got out of it positive that they could bring into the teaching aspect.
Mhm.
I wish they found like something because it would have tied it a bit better together so that it wasn't such a negative route, because
Right.
although it wasn't extremely like a Debbie Downer, it was, for me as a reader, I was just like, you spent some time in accounting, explain your time there, or in some way try to make it sound beneficial, because
Right.
I don't know. One tip that I always got was like, if you're pitching or if you're trying to get a job, you never want to talk badly about the one you just had, because as the employer, they're going to be like, are you going to think that same way when things don't go your way at our job? So that's how I was looking at it. I wish they would have tied it a bit better and like boosted their work a bit more
Yeah,
to acknowledge their accomplishments rather than like the defeat of like, I'm done with accounting, I want to be a teacher now.
most definitely. Yeah, and I strongly agree with pretty much everyone here, right? It seems like I appreciated their attempt, and I'm speaking of this as if Crystal G is another person, but I appreciated their attempt in trying to kind of detail their experience and in their optimism, in their drive, right, for this job. However, it tends to get lost in translation when, one, we're writing a novel in this cover letter, two, punctuation and grammar everywhere, right? And three, when we come off as if we are, I don't, what was the word that we used already? Come off as if we already have the job, essentially, right? So those are things that we kind of have to keep in mind as writing cover letters. We're trying to pitch ourselves to these companies, to these programs, to this, wherever we are applying to. So keeping that in mind. But awesome. Okay, so let's continue. What is a cover letter? So cover letters essentially highlight your academic, your personal, even your professional qualifications or experiences that help you qualify for the position you are vying for, or you are trying to achieve, right? Are typically about a page long, and I have had other I've had others in the past go, well, I mean, it could be 2 pages, it could be 3 pages. I personally would argue no against that. We want to keep it simple, we want to keep it neat, we want to get to the point, right? If we are kind of writing and going and going and going into the 3rd page, I think we need to condense that a bit more. But from my own experience, typically a page long is what we are looking for. And they are typically attached to your resume or your curriculum vitae if you are going into education. Curriculum vitae, for those of us who may not know, is essentially a resume that highlights all of your academic achievements or any courses that you have taught, any publications that you have published, stuff like that. A resume is more like work experiences, awards that you have gotten, volunteer work that you have done, kind of status. So cover letters are attached to those, or they are paired up with those when submitting them to a hiring position. So again, why do we write them, right? We want a job, right? We utilize them when applying to job positions, career positions, university programs, and other professions. We do these to expand on the experiences that are showcased on your resume. And I think, Kiana, you talked a little bit about that, right? You're like, well, my resume says one thing, but I mean, I want to go into detail what I did, right? How I achieved this and how this applies to the role that I am applying to. It highlights your motivations as to why you are applying for this position and why you want to work specifically or be a part of this specific organization. It also works as a way to introduce yourself, right? Showcase your personality, showcase the person who you are and whether or not you would be a good fit for this company or for this position or for this program, right? So that is typically when we write a cover letter. Any questions? Beautiful. Let us continue. So when writing a cover letter, I like to break it down into paragraphs, really. I like using this template or writing template or writing structure when writing a cover letter. I know that other people tend to do it a bit differently, but I feel like this structure is a bit more clear and tends to kind of condense or put into, I guess, categories the information that I'm trying to get in my cover letter, right? So I like to break it down into paragraphs. By all means, if you'd like to break it down in different ways, that's fine as well. But first paragraph typically is used to introduce yourself, right? You don't want to start off your cover letter just going, I want this job. I need to be hired ASAP. These are my qualifications, right? No, it's kind of like when introducing yourself to someone new, kind of like what I did right now during the beginning of our presentation. I could have easily been like, well, here's a link. No, you don't know me? That's crazy. You should have been paying attention during orientation, right? But no, right? A lot of us don't know who I am. And you know, it's customary and it's polite to introduce yourself to a new group or to people who may not necessarily know who you are. So in a couple of words, dictate who you are and dictate what position, I'm going ahead of myself, dictate or highlight your educational background or qualifications for this position. This is where you go, hi, my name is so-and-so, right? I just graduated and got my BA from CSU Channel Islands in blank, right? I went on to garner X amount of experience in writing tutoring, right? Or in tutoring or in customer service or in whatever it is, right? And then also highlight what position you are applying to and what program you're applying to. And so this is where I want to include a funny story. Remember when I said that I had a bunch of generic templates for all these jobs I was applying to? So when I sent out 5 applications, obviously I'm human, I mess up, right? I forgot to change what position I was applying to. So when I was applying to, I forgot what I was applying to, honestly. I think it was like administrative, like assistant or something like that. I sent out the same word for word cover letter to 5 different universities. I was like, I am applying to administrative assistant for CSUSB. And I was sending that to like Cal Poly Pomona, right? So this is what I mean by, yes, it could be very easy and very tempting to have a generic template and send that out. But you also have to keep in mind, it could be very, very easy for things to go astray just like that, right? So when writing your introduction, make sure that you write out what position you are applying to and to where. Okay, keep that in mind. And I went ahead and added an example at the bottom just for just to showcase you how one may sound. So here I wrote, my name is Cristal Gamez. I am applying for the position of EML writing instructor, right? So I am not applying for an administrative assistant. I am not applying for a writing tutor. I am applying for writing instructor for the EML program, right? No other program. While searching for a new position, I came across your listing on higher ed and was excited to see that your missions and values align directly with mine. I'm a recent graduate of Cal Poly Pomona, where I obtained my MA and et cetera, with over 2 years of experience and 5 years of tutoring experience. I am confident that I will be an excellent addition to your department, right? So again, introducing myself, who I am, what position I am applying to, the type of background and experience that I have already listed above. So just off the bat, you already know who I am, what I'm about, and what I'm applying to. Any questions? No. Got it. So let me go ahead. Next slide. So we come to our body paragraph. So I typically like to kind of answer these questions within my body paragraph because a lot of the recruitment or hiring committees will be asking or expecting answers to these type of questions. And your cover letter is a great place to kind of answer that for them, right? So body paragraphs, so why should they choose you, right? That should be one of the questions that you should answer within your cover letter, right? Why should they choose you? Why are you the perfect person for this position? What about you stands out amongst other applicants, right? What qualifications do we have? This is where we start kind of detailing that, right? We have our resume and we have the qualifications right there, but in this particular space, you want to highlight those and detail those a bit more. And also, what do you have to offer? If you are hired into this company or taken into this program, what do you offer to this particular program or company, right? What are you bringing to the table? This is where you go on to highlight that within your cover letter. So typically, body paragraph or 2, I like to keep it to just 1 body paragraph, but based off of experiences and like acquired education, it could be a little bit longer, right? So here I have another example. And I went ahead and kind of just tweaked it a little bit to just include like my writing tutoring experience. So here I wrote, I have always held a passion for teaching writing and have continuously sought out opportunities that will allow me to experience this. For example, as both an undergraduate and graduate student, I took on the role of writing tutor and learned how to effectively assist university students on their writing and oral/visual assignments. In addition to these experiences, I also piloted the EMT program during my undergrad that allowed me to assist students with their assignments in non-English writing courses. As a graduate student, I periodically hosted writing workshops for first-year students and learned how to tutor graduate level students, right? So here I am detailing exactly what's on my resume, right? But I'm going into how I went about garnering this experience, right? And at the same time, I'm also showcasing what I have to offer. I have worked with students in the past. I have acquired tutoring and teaching experience in the past. I know how to set up workshops for students, right? Both in the graduate level and undergraduate levels. So from that little expert, we get that type of information, right? Versus like if we have it on the resume, yeah, it's on there, but it's not as personified as like here, right? So that is another example. The next slide. And again, those typically take up like 2-3 paragraphs, again, depending on the amount of experience and the amount of educational background that you have. It's all up to you. And then we shift onto the concluding paragraph. Much like a regular essay or a regular assignment, we need to have a conclusion to it, right? How many times have students come to the writing center and they're like, I don't know how to write a conclusion, or I just stopped right here because I thought it would be, okay for that. And it's like, wait, no, you need a conclusion. How do we know that this is the right time to stop your essay, right? Same thing with the cover letter. You don't want to give off that impression of it just stops here. And that's pretty much all we're giving, right? No, we have to properly do that as well, much like an essay. So what I like to answer here is the question, why did you choose to apply here, right? And in doing so, also inserting a quick conclusion to our cover letter. So questions to consider during this portion of the cover letter. What is your reasonings behind applying to this position? It could be as simple as garnering more experience in that field. Perhaps you come from a different major or a different career field, and you are willing to explore or wanting to explore other options. That's also true, right? Wanting to climb up the ladder and go for another position that may challenge you or may expose you to different opportunities that you don't have at that moment, right? Or if you are applying to graduate school, I don't know if some of us are, but explaining why we want to be in this program, right? I want to be in this program. I want to get this MA or I want to get this PhD because it will lead to maybe garnering a tenure position at a university or becoming an editor at an editorial company, or simply as I want to learn how to publish books, right? And I am writing my own novel and I need to garner more skills in order to do that. Something like that, right? And again, what about this profession costs you? Same thing, really. Why is it that you want to be here, right? What calls you to this specific company? What calls you to this specific program that is, kind of driving you to apply here, right? You can't simply be like, well, I just kind of wanted to, right? And that sometimes may be the case, right? But wording it in a way that's like, I wanted to do this in order to garner X would be a more professional way of doing that. And then at the end, also make sure to add your contact information, right? If they are willing to propose an interview with you or propose more information or ask for more information from you, where are they able to get that from, right? Nowadays, we don't necessarily put in our address or, and it definitely do not put your Twitter at or your Instagram handles. It is more primarily your email. This is where you add in your email, or you could add in your phone number if you are comfortable with that, but typically email is what I'm seeing more than often. And here again, I have another example of a concluding paragraph. So here I wrote, by becoming the EML writing instructor for your department, I hope to gain more experience in the field I have long strived to become a part of. I have a passion for teaching writing, and through this position, I hope to strengthen it even more. As both an undergrad and graduate student, I had many instructors impact my life in a positive way, and my hope is to be able to do the same. I would be more than delighted to meet you in person. If needed, please feel free to contact me via my email, which is the fake one, right? And that is how we would end our cover letter, right? After that, we just go ahead and sign or add in our signature. We're pretty much done. So any questions in regards to this? Yeah, so again, I like using these type of templates because it helps me kind of garner or helps me write out exactly what I need, right? When it comes to writing cover letters at the beginning, when I was first writing them, I didn't know what to add. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to even go about a cover letter. Am I just going, well, Sohee Lee from the Writing Center said I was a great tutor, so maybe you might think so too, right? I like having templates like these. It kind of helps me kind of do like little bullet points as I'm going about answering these questions and being able to formulate that into a cohesive and professional cover letter that I could submit. So let's see. So keeping in mind when writing a cover letter, you should include professional language, right? Of course, you can go and be like, LOL, what's up? My name is Cristal, like TTYL, right? No text lingo, no casual language, much like an essay when we talk to our students, right? Keeping it as professional as possible. Grammar and punctuation should also be followed as well, very important. Awareness of the position you're applying to. It is always nice to do some research beforehand on the position you're applying to before writing a CV. At times when we are looking or job searching, we may see a position open and we're like, oh yeah, that's exactly it. It seems writing instructor. That's what I'm vying for, right? But what we should do is see that position and also look at the description at the bottom, right? So we could see what qualifications are needed, right? What exactly are they looking for in terms for this position, and how we may fit into that mold as well. I would even recommend kind of taking key terms or keywords from the description or from the job listing and incorporating them into your cover letter so that you're able to, for example, if your job description is asking for someone who is proficient at utilizing Canvas and has experience in teaching online, right? You could include that within your cover letter. I have X amount of years in teaching online, or I don't know, something like that. Or I am a very organized and professional person who enjoys working with teams, because that is something that the scripter is asking for in a person for this position. And of course, including or keeping in mind rhetorical situations. And I'm sure you guys learned about this in your FYC courses way back then, right? But I like including this because one, I'm teaching FYC and my students were like, yes, I know exactly what rhetorical situations is, right? But also I thought about including it in here because this is something that we should keep in mind as writers, right? At the end of the day, this is kind of like a form of persuasion, really, or if anything, it is persuasion. You're trying to persuade your audience to hire you or to keep you in mind for this position. So keeping in mind rhetoric is something that we should do as we write our cover letters. So keeping in mind the writer, who is you, keeping in mind the audience, who are you writing to? Are you writing to the superintendent or are you writing to a bunch of sixth graders, right? Your purpose, what is your purpose behind the CV? That is something we already discussed in previous slides. What is your message, right? To get hired, to get into this job position, to get into this program. What's your stance? Obviously, pro getting hired, pro getting into this program. And then genres, obviously cover letters. But again, keep in mind who your audience is and what your purpose and message are some things that we should keep in mind, and some things that are highlighted in rhetoric, which is essentially what we are utilizing. Any questions in regards to that? Oh, beautiful. So we have already spoken what we should keep in mind, but what shouldn't we keep in mind, or what should we avoid really? So as stated in the previous slide, casual language and typos. Make sure to correct your grammar and punctuation before submitting your cover letters. I have seen students, particularly when they come to me, they're like, hey, can you look at my cover letter? Riddled in grammar and punctuation errors. And I'm like, hey, we love the energy. We love what we're doing. You're doing a wonderful job, but let's polish this up a bit more, right? We're being professionals and we're applying to professional positions. Let's keep that in mind, right? And again, using formal professional language when writing your CV, no text lingo, no casual, conversations. Also, writing a novel. And we saw this in our example at the beginning of the presentation, right? When she was like, oh, I have been teaching since I was a little girl because I used to play teacher with my siblings, and then I babysat with when I was like a 12th grader or something like that. Life is full of eventful and awesome stories, right? But what we want to make sure is keep our letter focused on relevant information that we will need for this particular position, right? So maybe perhaps focusing not so much on experiences that happened like 12 years ago, but maybe more recent experiences or recent educational background or motivations that fuel you in this field, right? Awesome that you wanted to be a teacher since you were like in 2nd grade, but that doesn't necessarily become useful information. What I want to know is, what have you done in the past 5 years, right? In terms of garnering or even growing that passion in teaching, right? Perhaps you have done volunteer work, perhaps you have, gotten different positions over time. That's what I'm looking for, not necessarily just your background story. Although wonderful, let's keep it to relevant and recent information. And then lastly, copy and paste. I already talked about this and shared my experiences with you guys in terms of copy and pasting or having a generic template for your cover letters. As tempting as it could be, and I feel you and I understand you, sometimes job hunting or finding programs and writing 10, 20, 30 cover letters, it could be daunting. It could be exhausting work. But I promise you, if we keep to a customized and unique cover letter for each and every job, it will make things easier for you in the long run, right? You are writing specifically to this field or to this position. So you are utilizing key terms dedicated to this position or catered to this position, or you are even as easily as using the correct title, right, in your cover letter. So that is something that we want to keep in mind as we write our cover letters. Again, very tempting to have one generic template and just fill out the blanks, but uniqueness and customization is something that is really seen, not seen, really, what is that word? I am blanking on a lot of words today. Highly encouraged, really, when looking for jobs. But yes, let's see. So then let me see how much time I have. Ooh, I do not have a lot of time. Okay, so we may not have a lot of time for the activity, but if you guys could go ahead and click on the sample CV link, and you will be brought to this page. And hopefully you guys are able to see this yourselves. I don't know if you are. I see a couple of you guys coming in. So this is the formatting template for a traditional cover letter. I am aware that, and if you guys have been writing cover letters or looking online for cover letter templates or structures, I am very much aware that times have, or the age of the digital world has essentially allowed us to become much more creative in the way we format our templates, right? I see much more colorful cover letters, where your picture is in the corner and it's like pink and it's like, oh, it's beautiful, right? It's aesthetically pleasing. I'm not saying don't use those types of formattings or don't use those type of templates or don't get creative with your cover letters. And this also goes for resumes. But I do ask that you keep in mind the type of position and the type of role you are vying for, and kind of feeling that vibe with those. So for example, maybe more creative resumes or creative cover letters would be awesome for digital marketing or for a position in a much more creative outlet, right? Maybe even teachers. I've seen some teachers kind of do those type of resumes. However, if you are applying, and I see this a lot more for like corporate jobs or in academia or even college programs, I would recommend perhaps going in a more traditional route with that. They are not necessarily swayed a lot by colors and about like graphics, And again, not saying that the other way is not good. Again, depends on the position, depends on the situation, depends on the vibe. Both are pretty much valid, but I would just keep in mind what you are applying to or who you are applying to, and constructing it in that way. This particular template I have been in education, or I have been in higher ed for about like 5 years now. So this is the type of cover letters I tend to see, and I tend to write for the positions I am in, right? Or this type of format that I have. So beginning, I don't have a picture at the top, but I do have my name at the top, right? That is very important, whether it's in a creative outlet or a more traditional one. Make sure your name is on your cover letter, followed by your information at the bottom. When it comes to your address being utilized in a cover letter template, as time has passed, I haven't seen a lot of including addresses in cover letters. I haven't seen that in a good while. Typically, we don't use that anymore because everything is digital, right? We send applications through online, we send it through email. We used to include our mailing address because in case someone wanted to send me an application through mail or some sort of admission letter to the mail, they had my address, right? But we don't do that as much. So if you want to add your mailing address, please feel free to do so, but it's totally fine to just have your phone number and your email as well. I've seen some people even put in their LinkedIn, but not necessarily a lot, but for sure, email and phone number. So this is how the top of your cover letter should look like, followed by using a typical letter or standard letter format. So we have the date at the top, right? January 12, 2022. This is when I am submitting, or I wrote my cover letter, followed by who I am writing or this letter to, right? Dear EML Department Hiring Committee, dear CSUCI Writing Center, dear Dr. Sohee Lee, who is reviewing your application is who you will typically address your cover letter to. If you are unaware of who that may be, look at the job description. Look who is particularly hiring. Is it the university or is it a specific department within the university? Is it the corporation or is it a specific section of the corporation? Or is it a specific person who is hiring? So just making that small research right before writing your cover letter will help you a lot in the long run. And then starting off with your what is that word? With your paragraph or with your actual cover letter. Again, here I went ahead and pasted together the cover letter and the examples, just put them all together right here, right? And again, I had a second paragraph detailing my experience. So again, it depends how much experience you have, how much educational background you have. That is what you will input in your body paragraphs, followed with the conclusion and then a signage. I was unable to include a signature in this sample cover letter only because I don't know how to do that. I'll be frank with you. But if you have that knowledge and you have a tablet and you're able to digitally sign your cover letter or even print it out, have it signed and then scan it back, that is a good thing to do. I strongly recommend that just so it kind of looks a bit more professional, right? And it's nice to include a signature at the end followed by your name. Keep in mind, in terms of the formatting for a cover letter, Times New Roman or Arial is okay. One or the other, it's fine. I typically see much more Arial versus Times New Roman. I use Times New Roman. I like that better than Arial. It's better on my eyes, but that's just my own personal preference. In terms of size, 12-point or 10-point font. Single spaced and in block format traditionally. And I say traditionally because again, depending on the position you're vying for or just in general, your own preference, I have seen and heard of cover letters where they indent like a normal essay, right? But traditionally, it's just block format. but it's honestly up to you. And then single space. And this is your cover letter. You would attach this to your resume. You would attach this to your CV or your curriculum vitae. And this will serve as that. So any questions? Awesome. So let me stop share. We ran out of time. It's 5 minutes. So I'm not going to have us do an activity, and that's totally fine. I love talking. But do we have any comments or questions about cover letters, or do we feel a bit more comfortable writing cover letters now, a bit more insightful? For sure. Love
Much
that.
more comfortable. I also really appreciate the formatting guidelines
Mhm.
because I know that's going to be a question and I didn't have the answer to that.
Yeah,
So
and
that was really helpful.
yeah, and I'm glad to hear that. I know that we're all writing tutors, right? And so we may have points or moments in our time here where we have a student come in and they're like, I don't know the formatting for a cover letter. You guys could show them this presentation. That's fine with me. Or you'll be like, I actually know how to do this, right? You have a bit more insight in that. And then on a personal note, you now know how to kind of format your cover letter. It's not as daunting or as scary to do so, because I understand that. I understand those feelings perfectly well. I was in that position about 4 years ago, and you know, I had my blunders and I made my mistakes, but you know, over the years I have kind of learned how to curate and make the experience a bit more better or easier for myself. But yeah, anyone else? Beautiful. Awesome. Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you think it's proper etiquette to always include a cover letter, even if it's not like requested?
Great question. Yes and no. If the job description or the application says we don't want cover letters, and I have seen positions where they're like, we don't want a cover letter, don't include one. Include what they are asking for. However, if you don't see a disclaimer like that, and you're not sure whether or not to include a cover letter, I would probably suggest including one just to be sure. And it's also pretty professional to add one or attach one to your resume or your CV. So the answer is, unless they say no or they're like, we don't want one, then do so.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anyone else? Love that for us. Okay, so there's 4 minutes left. Again, I had an activity. It's fine, we didn't get to that. I love talking a lot. So you are more than welcome to hang out right here for the last 4 minutes or 3 minutes. Or if not, you are more than happy to, go on about your days, go on to your other workshops. I know that we have a busy schedule today, so please feel free to do that. It was nice getting to know you guys and seeing your faces. If you guys have any questions about tutoring or about becoming adjunct faculty, I know a lot of us are going into the teaching realm, or any questions really in general about graduate school or any of that stuff, please feel free to reach out. I am more than happy to discuss that with you guys. I know how again, daunting and very new it could be for us. So reach out, let me know. I'm more than happy to assist. In terms of writing tutoring questions, let me know as well. I was in your position at one point. I am relearning the ropes here and there, but for the most part, I know how tutoring, if things have not changed, I know the ins and outs of tutoring. I will be in the office on Fridays. So if you are tutoring on Fridays, I will be seeing you around a lot. If not, I will be in contact via email or Zoom. So there you have it. Of course. All right then, guys. It was nice seeing you guys.
Thank you so much. Have a good
fun.
one.
Yeah, thank
Of course,
you.
have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye.